Are you looking to learn iMovie? If you're a beginner and you want to learn how to edit video using iMovie, which is pre-installed on your Mac computer, then this video is for you.
Okay guys, let's jump right in. So what you're going to notice when you first launch iMovie is you're going to see a screen like this. It may pop up this window that says welcome to iMovie and then what's new in iMovie, which is awesome. You can go ahead and continue. And you're going to see this is what you're first going to see when you first launch iMovie. Now, iMovie has a lot of different versions, so you want to make sure that you go down to the App Store, and in the App Store you type in iMovie, and right here you would click Open. Now, iMovie is already installed on your Mac, but what you're doing here is making sure that you have the newest version, and so you can actually update it here if it is not been updated. But we're going to go ahead and quit the App Store because we're already up to date. So when you first launch, you're going to see this page. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to start and create a new movie recording. And so I'm going to click on the plus button where it says create new. So I'm clicking here, and then when I click there, a little window opens up that says movie or trailer. Now, iMovie comes with some really cool stuff to make fun movie trailers, but we're not doing a movie trailer in this tutorial. We're doing a movie. So I'm going to go ahead and click movie. Now that I've clicked movie, it's going to launch my new workspace. So in this workspace, there's a lot of different things, and don't be overwhelmed with how it looks or how the layout is. We'll go over these items so that you can start editing right away. So the first thing that we're going to look at is we see up here, if we click projects, we click this back, it'll actually take us back to the projects or the previous screen that we were at. We're not going to do that right now. You can also click right here to show and hide the media library. So let's click that just so you can see what it does. So now all you see is the preview screen and your timeline. If we click it again, it comes back. I suggest you leave it like this for right now. The other thing that this is now you have your import video from camera or folder. Now there's a lot of different ways to get your footage from your recording device to your computer, but one thing I highly recommend is getting an external hard drive. And the reason that I recommend getting an external hard drive is because you're going to be capturing a lot of footage. Even in a short video, you can film gigabytes of data. And so you want to make sure that you have an external drive to store that on so that you're not using up all your storage on your actual computer. Okay, now we're going to go to the next window. This project media, this is what your movie is called. So right now, it's called My Movie. And right now, you're not really going to have to worry about this too much until we actually get started and working on the project. We'll go ahead and move on. Same thing here with events and movie library. This stuff is really not too important right now to get started. But one thing we can look at is we can also show and hide library list. So if you have some footage and you want more space, then click this button, and that'll give you more space to bring in your media.
How about we import some media? What do you think about that? So in order to import media, we're going to click on Import Media, this down arrow. So I've clicked on the button Import Media. It opens up a new window pane, and this window is where I'm going to search for my footage. So if you have taken footage from your camera and you've put it on your computer, this window helps you navigate and find where that footage is. So for example, if the footage is on your desktop, then you can click on desktop and all of the items on the desktop will show up. I know right where I put my stuff, and so that's where we're going to look, is we're going to look on my external hard drive. So I have an external hard drive right here, and I have a file called iMovie. And inside of iMovie, I have a file called footage. I'm going to double click on that. And that will load my footage. And if I look right here, I can see the file name, which doesn't really tell me anything about it. It has the duration of that clip, and that tells me something. And it has when it was created and the file size. So if I click on a clip, it will then show me the footage that I have. If I want to go to the next clip, I click go to the next clip, this little arrow with a line. And that will take me to the next clip, and you see how it moved down. And I can do that on all of the clips. I can also go back. Another way to do it is just to click on the file itself. If you want to do multiple files, hold down Command button and click. And you can select any number of clips. If you want to select all of the clips, the easiest way to do that is to click at the top of the file, scroll down, and hold down Shift and click, and you'll import all of the files. So I'm going to go ahead and click Import All, and it's going to load all of the footage that I have. Okay, now that we've imported the media, we're going to take a look at the clips, but you're going to notice that on most of these clips, you're going to see a little round circle at the bottom of each clip. And the reason that there's a little circle there is because it's processing. You can also see that this circle is right here. If you click on it, it shows how many clips have been imported. So 11 of 32 clips have been imported. It also gives me an estimate of how long until the videos are imported. It says 4 minutes left. If I keep my mouse over the clip and I drag my mouse along this clip, now I'm not clicking and holding down or anything. I just have my mouse resting over the clip, or I'm moving my cursor back and forth. But I don't want to take a 7-minute clip and then put it down here. I want to trim my clip a little bit. So these are two keys that you're really going to want to get familiar with. And the way that you do that is you click on the clip, and you'll see there's a yellow highlight around that clip, which means that you have now clipped that highlight. I can now click on this little bar, hold down and drag till I get where I want, and I can click and drag here to trim it up. So now I've trimmed up my clip so that it looks a lot better, and I've selected only this spot. But that can get tricky, clicking and dragging, or it may not be as exact as you want. So the other thing that you can do, and we'll go on this side, is you can, as you're scrubbing through the footage, hitting the letter I will be your end point. So this is where the video is going to start. Now if I move my mouse over, you'll see that line move along with my cursor. And let's say I want to finish right there. Then I hit O on the keyboard. And that will now trim that piece of this clip that's 6 minutes long to this amount. Now there's a couple ways to move it to your sequence or your timeline. And that is, I can click this button. That little plus button will then bring this footage into my timeline. Or I'm going to go ahead and delete that, and the way I delete it is click to highlight on the timeline or sequence and hit the delete button. It doesn't delete the clip, it just removes it from the sequence. The clip is still here. So now I'm going to go in and have my endpoint, which will be right there, and the out again will be right there. And now I'm going to hit the letter E, and that will bring it in as well. So as you're editing, knowing these short codes will help you edit much quicker. So I just put E in. Now the last way to do it is I can just click on this selection and drag, and that might make it easy as well. So you can decide on how you want to do it. So let's go ahead and bring in a couple clips. So I'm going to start right here, and I'll scrub through it a little bit to there. That looks good, and I'm going to go ahead and hit E. Now remember, as you're importing this or putting it into your timeline, if I hit E and I want to clip over here, it's not going to do that. E will put it at the end of your sequence. So only use E if you're going to put the next clip right here. So let's go ahead and put in another clip. And we'll do... that's a pretty cool shot. We'll do right there. The other thing that you can do is if you're really trying to get something close, you can hit the space bar and it will actually preview the footage. So we're going to go ahead and now I hit the space bar again to stop the footage, and I'm going to hit I. That's going to reset my in marker. Then I'm going to go ahead and press the space bar. And then I hit space there. I'm actually going to leave it right to there because that landed in, and then I'll hit my out button. So now I'm going to go ahead and bring that in. Again, I can just hit E and it will place it at the end. But let's say I wanted that at the beginning and not the end. So the way to do that is you just click on the clip and you drag until you put it in front and it pushes the other clip over. Let's bring in one more clip, maybe right here. And there's some audio in it. Maybe we don't want audio. I don't know yet. We're gonna just kind of see. So I'm just letting it play through right now. I'm gonna go ahead and hit I and let them just kind of laughing. And then O to set my endpoint. And I don't really know exactly if I want it at the beginning or in the middle or at the end, but I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the middle just to show you how to do it. So I'm gonna click and drag, and then it's going to push that over. Now if you notice, now my clip is moved on my sequence or my timeline, and I can't see all of it. So one way to adjust this so that you can see everything is you move your mouse over to here and you'll see this little slider. You just click and drag, and that slider will squeeze your clip or make it smaller so that you can fit everything in there. So when you have a lot, now it's really small, or you can make it bigger to take up the screen. I'd say if you're really trying to do like intricate cutting, then you'll want to zoom in closer so you can be more accurate when you adjust. Okay, so I'm gonna put in a couple clips. I'm gonna get where I'm stepping in, putting my paddle down, and pulling my sock up. Right there, that's good. That's too long, so we'll click and drag till about right there. So now what I did is I actually just moved my playhead, or the beginning of my sequence, right to there. I've got a couple clips that I can work with, and I don't want any audio on any of this, so we'll adjust that. But before we do, I want to show you how you can organize or arrange the clips that you have in your sequence or timeline. The way to do that is, so just click it and you'll see now it's highlighted. Click again and hold down and move it. And I'm just dragging it to where I want it, and it's going to push it over there. So now I've moved that to the end. Okay, that is how you arrange footage. I'm just clicking and dragging, and I'm moving the footage where I want it. So now that looks pretty good. Now what I want to do is I want to trim the clip. This one, even though I brought an in and out point from this file or this file that was 7 minutes and made it less, it's still too long. So now what I want to do is I want to trim it a little bit more even. So there's a couple ways that you can do that. If I click on the clip, you'll see that it highlights. If I move my mouse over to, or my cursor over to the yellow line, it changes from pointer to arrows going either way. So now I can actually click and hold down while it does that, and I'm shortening the clip. Clicking and shortening the clip. And then I'm using this preview as I shorten it to see where I want to start and end. So the ball dropped right there. I want to end it right there. So now to end that, I can do the same thing with my in and out points again. So if I click on the clip, I'm going to hit O because I want to get rid of that. Now I need to cut it. So how do I cut it? There's a couple different ways to do it. Again, you can click and drag, but that's not going to be as accurate and it'll take you a little longer. Or you can hold down Command and B, and that will actually cut the clip. So now I can click on this clip that I don't want and I can delete it. So now I've just taken a longer clip. I took a really long clip, shortened it up, brought it into my sequence, realized I wanted it a little bit more trimmed. And if you set an in point and you didn't mean to put it there, you can either drag it, or if you just click off of the sequence right there, it'll deselect. So that's how you arrange your clips and also how you can trim them. Now that I've trimmed this clip down, I really don't want audio on that. So there's a couple ways that you can do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select the clip that I don't want the audio, and you'll see there's a little audio layer here, and I can either click and hold down and drag, and that percentage is the volume. So I'm going to drag it to 0. So now if I do that, there's no audio. If I brought it up, you can see now it's back. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. And you can do that on all of your clips. Just click. When you see the cursor go from the pointer tool to 2 arrows, you can drag up or down. And now I've taken all of the audio and I've lowered it. Now let's say for whatever reason you don't even want the audio file attached. We can break apart the audio file. And the way to do that, and when you right click on the clip, you're going to see detach audio. And as you can see, I've detached that audio from this file. So I'm going to go ahead and click to highlight it and hit delete. Now that audio is completely gone from the file. So if you know for sure you're not going to be using audio, you can get rid of it this way, just to make sure that you're not rendering, and then when you're done editing your file, you hear just a little bit of some noise from a video clip. So we'll go ahead, click on it, right click, detach audio, click on the audio file and delete. Again, click, detach audio, and you can delete. The other thing that you can do is if you have a bunch of them, go ahead and highlight multiple. And all I'm doing is clicking, and then I'm dragging this marquee over the files so that I have both selected, and then I'm right clicking, detaching audio, and they both come off. So then I can click and drag multiple and hit delete, and they're now gone. So now I have no audio attached to any of this footage. If you want to add transitions in between these, we'll go up here where it says transitions, and we're going to go ahead and click on that. And that's going to load transitions, so then you can kind of see what each transition does. So what you can do is you can highlight it. You can see this fades or cross dissolves from one to the other. This is a blur. Let's try this cross zoom. So in order to do a transition, you're going to click and highlight the transition, and you're going to drag it in between the two clips. So now I'll go ahead and put my playhead right here, and you can see that now does a zoom, cross zoom transition. That zoom takes a little bit of time. Maybe I want it to go a little faster, so you can double click on it and it will show you the duration. So I'm going to put 0.35, apply, and you can see that moved much quicker, which is, I like that a lot better. So let's say in the beginning I want a fade right here. I'm going to go ahead and click on fade to black. So now I'm taking a transition, so the movie starts and then it fades. Now that goes kind of fast. Again, you can double click and you can make it a little longer. So we'll do 1.5 and we'll see how that works. I like that. So now it's kind of fading in, and that's pretty cool. That is how you add transitions. If you want to fade out when you're done, go ahead and do a cross dissolve. You can either do a cross dissolve or a fade to white or fade to black. I'm going to go ahead and do fade to black. Let's say that this is the end of my clip. Go ahead and click there, hit the space bar to play, and there it is. But maybe I want it a little longer. Again, I'm going to do it for 2 seconds, and there it is. Now it faded out. So that is how you do transitions. So now that you have that, you can go ahead and hold down Option as you click and hold down, and it will actually duplicate that transition. So you don't have to go up here and adjust it, or if you have a specific time frame, you don't have to readjust it on every single one. You can just hold down Option, click, and you'll see a little green plus, and that lets you know that you are duplicating exactly as all the other transitions. So there it is. So now I can do that, and then it will just skip to the next part, does another transition, and another, and then just a cut and the fade to black. This is looking good with the transitions, but now what I want to do is I want to add a title to my video. So the way to add a title is I'm going to move up here and I'm going to click on titles, and it's going to bring in a bunch of different options. You can just drag or move your mouse over the top of it, scroll it left or right, and you can see the type of animation it does. Let's do reveal. So I'm going to click and hold down, and I'm going to drag it in front of all of my clips. That will create a slate or a black screen with that title. Double click it to highlight the text, and I'll put pickleball. So there we go. I've got pickleball. We'll actually do pickleball fun. All right, so there it is. I've got my title. Now I can adjust this by highlighting it again, and I could change it to, let's move this over here so you can see, I could change it to yellow. And if I wanted, I could change the font. So let's do that. And it's all centered, everything looks good. So now if I click over here, I'm gonna go ahead and close this by hitting the red button. There's pickleball fun, and then it goes into my transition right to there. Now if I wanted to, I could take this and I could put it above my clip, and that would do a highlight over my footage. So now the transition comes in, and that's how you do an overlay or a title over your clip. Now what you're going to realize is that we have this great little clip going together, but we don't have any audio. What would really make it fun is if we added some music. So let's go ahead and import some music. I'm going to go ahead up here and click the down arrow, which is import media, and then I'm going to navigate to my audio file, and I'm going to take both of these files and I'm going to go hold shift, select both of them. So I'm clicking on the top one, holding shift, clicking on the bottom one, and importing all. Now I have two files. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this one and I'm going to hit space to preview it. It turns down just a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and hit space to preview it. Okay, that's what I want, so I'm going to go ahead and drag that to the beginning of my sequence. Now, or my timeline. Now when I hit a space bar, we're going to have music, transitions, titles, and our clip. I have that in there. It's going to go through the whole thing. If you want to adjust the audio volume, for example, if you want a voiceover, then go ahead and click on that and drop it down a little bit, and you'll hear that it went down a little bit. Or if you just want subtle music in your video and you want to have a voiceover, then what you're going to do is you're going to click on this little microphone, and you can record your voice. Make sure after you click the microphone to hit these two little dials that is your settings, and make sure the mic is connected that you should be using. Also, make sure that you have mute project checked. If you don't have that checked, when you play through this, it will pick up all of the audio that's in your sequence. So now I'm going to go ahead and hit play or record, and when I hit record, it's going to give me a countdown, and then I can start doing my voiceover. This is a test to check out how cool it is to do voiceover during video. And I'm going to go ahead and hit stop, and now my music will play. Now my voice isn't quite loud enough, so I'm going to bring it up just a little bit. And you can adjust this. If you have a good condenser mic, then as you record, it's going to sound a lot more clear than if you're just using the built-in microphone that the iMac has or the Mac has. So now I have a voiceover, I have music, I have titles and transitions, and I'm ready to export, except for I have this long file of music and I need to trim it. So the easiest way is just bring this down so you can see the end and I can see my whole clip. I'm going to click till I see the two arrows, and I'm going to drag, and then I'm going to zoom in so I can see everything a little bit better. And right here I have a transition, but I don't want it to end just right in the middle really loud. So we're going to listen to this just for a second. See how it just ended? I want it to fade, and I want it to fade with this transition. So in order to have it fade with the transition, you'll see as I hover over this file, there's a little button that appears right there, or a little bump. You just go ahead and click on that and drag, and now it'll start to fade. And that's how you add it. Now you may want to adjust the timing a little bit so that it fades a little faster, or the music fades a little faster. You can just play with it. Go ahead and hit spacebar to play. And that's how you end it. So now we've got our video done. I'm going to go ahead and hit done right here. We've got our video done. We have our voiceover, we have our clips, we have transitions. Now we need to export. There's a lot of different ways you can export out of iMovie to a lot of different mediums, but what we're going to do is click on the export button up here in the upper right corner, and we're going to export as a file. And the reason we're going to do that is because that way you can adjust it to the setting that you want and then share it on multiple social media platforms if that's what you want to do, or with friends and family. So I'm going to go ahead and hit file, and it's going to bring up my movie. I'm going to highlight that, and I'm going to change it to pickleball, or I'd say pickleball fun. This is a great video about pickleball. You can fill all that stuff in there. You can remove the tags. You can do it in 4K if you want, or 1080p is plenty. The quality you want at high. If you move it to best ProRes, then your file size is going to be much bigger. So make sure that you just use high, and then compression. That will be better quality. It takes longer to compress, but when it's done, it's going to look a lot better. And we're going to go ahead and export. So I'm going to hit next, and then it's going to ask me where I want it, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put it in my drive, and I'm going to make a new folder and call it final product or final video. Let's just do that. Then I'm going to go ahead and hit save, and what it's going to do is it's going to process, and you'll see when it's done. Right now it says it has 24 hours. Now it just dropped to 6. And depending on your processor and your speed of your computer, it will edit and render pretty fast. This thing should be done pretty fast. We're already down to 35 minutes. I suspect it'll take just a couple minutes and then it'll be done. So I will let you watch the rest of this. We've got 12 minutes now, it's saying. That's probably not even very accurate. I would imagine we'll be done in like less than 30 seconds. Oh, we're done. So now that it's done, we can go ahead and hit show. And there's the video. If we double click it, it opens up and we can watch it. And that will go through this whole thing towards the end. And there you go. That is how you make a video in iMovie. I have more videos. If you're interested in learning more in-depth tips and techniques, make sure to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out on any other great tutorials.